Hey everybody, this is Oksana, and in this video we're going to make this simple little pendant. It uses just one piece of round wire and a cabochon. Here's the back of it. So if you want to see how I made this pendant, just keep watching. And for more wire wrapping videos, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell, and you'll be notified every time I post a new video. Thank you. Let's get started. So I'm starting out with one piece of 20 gauge round copper wire. It is dead soft. I get these spools from riogrande.com, and my one piece of wire is 15 inches long. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna fold it in half like this, and then just kind of try to squish it down as much as you can. But then at some point, once it starts getting like this, you can take your pliers and squish it completely in half like this. And then once you've done that, you just want to hold it with your pliers, and you want to open up the wires like this. And what you want to do is shape your wire frame, which is what we're doing here. This is going to be the very bottom tip of the wire frame. We want to shape it around our stone. So this is my stone. It's a little teardrop. It's a little red Jasper. So let me grab my ruler again. Mine is quite small. Yours doesn't have to be this small, but I figured smaller sometimes is harder, so I'll do a small one in case that helps you see what it would look like, and then you can always just replicate it on a bigger stone. So this is the size of it. It's about 15 millimeters, which is a little more than half an inch. And I'm going to be positioning it this way with the point of the teardrop pointing upwards. And so it's kind of tricky to do here in the air, but maybe put it down on a table and try to just kind of shape the wire around your stone. But you don't want it to be super tight around your stone. You want it just a little bit of space, at least like on the bottom. You want like a little gap there in the bottom, because we're gonna have to tuck away one of the wires under there. Or the wire ends, I mean, we're gonna tuck away through there. So this takes a little bit of time to get this looking perfect. So just keep playing around with your frame, trying to get it just right. So you want a little bit of space on the bottom there. On the sides, it can be touching the stone, that's fine. And then you do want a little bit of space on the top here. So just kind of like this. This seems to be a good shape. So once you're satisfied with that shape, what you want to do is you want to hold either with your hands or pliers, just hold right here where the wires are starting to crisscross. And we're going to twist them. It's important to hold it tightly, because you don't want this frame to get to change the frame and alter it in any way when you're doing the twist. So that's why I'm kind of holding that tight there, so the frame will not get misshapen. And I find that having these two wires kind of at an equal angle here, the way that they're bent up, like one wire isn't going straight or anything, but they're just both kind of equally pointing to the side. I find that helps me make the twist nice and even. So this twist, the purpose of this is it's going to be our bail. So I'm just going to do this for a little bit until it is tall enough to be my bail. You want to just go slow and careful. One of the wires tries to kind of move out of place. You want to fix it, because what can happen if one of the wires is kind of going more straight across and the other one is at an angle, it'll start to wrap around that wire instead of getting this kind of more even twist. That's what will happen. All right, so this is probably good enough. Here's how it's looking. And at this point, it's really helpful to hammer it. If you have a chasing hammer and an iron block, so this is an iron block, it's just something to hammer on, because obviously you can't, if you hammer on like the ground, it's not solid enough. And you need something really hard like metal to hammer on, and this is my chasing hammer, so I'm going to use this flat side and I'm just going to hammer it without sound. So that's what it looks like when you're hammering, but it's obviously easier just to put it down on the ground. But you can see it's starting to get nice and flat, and it strengthens this frame, but it also kind of flattens the bail a little bit, makes it look a little better. So once it's been hammered, you just want to hold it and bend it in a bail shape. Now, if you want to use something like round nose pliers, that can be helpful, or you can bend it by hand or just find some other round thing in your house to bend it around. All right, so we've got our bail. Here's what it looks like from the front. And what I want to do now is I want to bend these wires towards the front, just trying to do it kind of equal and even like this. And I don't know if it's helpful to you to try and hold the stone in place. Sometimes it just makes it more tricky because the stone won't stay put, you know, so it'll kind of be slippery and move around. So sometimes it's easier to do it without the stone, but just periodically put the stone in to see, make sure that it still works with the stone. So what I'm doing is I'm kind of using my finger here to bend these wires. I don't want them to just crisscross. I want them to kind of have a nice curve, and I want them to go kind of down this way. Sometimes you can also use your pliers to help you shape them. And I'm just going to hold my stone in and see how that's looking. So the stone is domed, so you want to like kind of push a little bit and it lifts up the wires, and then you want to just kind of shape the wire. So I'm just pushing the wire down now so that it's being shaped around the stone. So now the wire is here. Kind of, it's not flat, but it's sticking out a little bit to make space for the doming in my stone. So like this is how it's going to be. And what I want to do now is here on the bottom, I want to make sure that I do this in a symmetrical way. So here and then here, so the spacing is, you know, equal. And I'm going to take my wire and I'm going to feed it through, just right under through this gap, and I find that pulling on it with my hand doesn't really work well here. What works well is just going with my pliers, and then you kind of have to straighten it because it makes it curve. Just I'm holding it here, I've pinched it so it doesn't move, and then with my pliers I'm just kind of feeding it through and feeding it through until it's like completely small, and then I can just kind of squish this little bit here. Just give it a little squish and have it go here towards the back. All right, so here it is on the back, and now we're going to do the same thing here. So I'm gonna get in here, hold it, and I'm gonna feed it through, just right through here. I'm gonna use my pliers to do that. Like that. And we're just gonna take this wire, kind of unravel it a little bit there. Okay, so just give it a squish. So now it's in the back. Both of the wires are just kind of crisscrossing in the back. So this is the time to put our stone in, and because we kind of bend the wires in the front there, we bent them around how the stone was domed, it should fit in there. And then these wires, you want them to just crisscross here on the back of the stone to trap it in from the back. So from the front, this is what it looks like from the front. These wires are trapping it in. Now the stone kind of wobbles from side to side a little bit up here because there's some space, and we're gonna take care of that space right now with these two wires. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the wire and do the same thing. So we're feeding it through this hole up here under the bale and just turning it with my pliers, feeding it through here. Until it just turns to this really small little tight loop. And we can just really squish that down. And same here on the other side, we're just gonna feed that through. So we're gonna take care that it's in the same position so that they're equal. I'm just going to the back here for a minute. I'm trying to make sure that it's looking even. All right, I think that's even. And then here's my wire. So here in the front, we're just gonna trim these little wire ends here like that. Trim them and just leave yourself a little end to tuck away. So when we tuck it away, it's gonna go kind of in here into this little gap so that you won't see the wire end, but you don't want to leave it so long that it goes all the way through and sticks out the back. That's why I cut it nice and short. All right, so that's that. I'm just gonna fix my bale a little bit here. And then if anything else is looking out of place, if any other wires need to be fixed, like one wire is a little bit more on the stone than the other and you need to just kind of adjust it or adjust like the curvature of it, now's the time to do that. And then once you have done all of those finishing touches, the stone should be trapped. These wires are holding it from the front. This little crisscross situation is holding it from the back. And there you have it, the finished pendant. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye.